October 10th, 2023, the world will unite once more in commemoration of the World Mental Health Day. A declaration by the World Health Organization has it that everyone, anywhere, has a right to the highest attainable standard of mental health. This entails the right to protection from mental health risk and the right to access good quality care that guarantees stable state of the mind, which in turn guarantees good mental health. With protracted experience of armed conflicts arising from prolonged years of insurgency, the Northeast sub-region has been witnessing rising cases of people with trauma, among other psychosocial challenges. The International Committee of the Red Cross has over the years remained a forefront caregiver to people traumatized by insurgency, especially in the northeastern Nigeria. Strengthening mental health in armed conflict is theme of the ICRC for the commemoration of the 2023 World Mental Health Day. Welcome to Maiduguri. I am Abubakar Musa. Determined to deliver on the promise to create millions of jobs in the technology space, the federal government has proposed November 2023 to launch more than $617.7 million investment in digital and creative enterprises program. Vice President Kashim Shettima gave marching order to members of the IDI steering committee, tasking them to make sure the program starts before the end of November this year. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Emphasizing the importance of the initiative to federal government's digital job drive, Vice President Kashim Shettima said the Tinubu administration is keen on delivering on its promises to Nigerians, urging all partners in the program to ensure judicious utilization of the funds. He said the challenges facing the country demands job creation for teeming youth to address the crisis associated with youth unemployment. The program, which is expected to ensure inclusivity by judiciously utilizing the funds, the Vice President assured the Technical Committee of support towards actualizing job creation and economic growth.
He is very keen that the promise of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, particularly to the youth, that it is met, the creation of 1.2 million digital jobs. This $617 million project will go a long way to achieving the President's priorities of job creation and economic growth.
And with this funding, what it means is that not only are we going to be a leader in the region, we actually want to be a leader globally. And there's no other way to do that but by investing in the technology startups that are building this solution. So the government is putting its skin in the game to say we want to support, we want to see more local companies building, and there's no other way to show that support but by putting money down and investing in the companies.
It will cover the digital area, the creative area, and entertainment area, especially the areas that the youth are interested. So this is actually for the youth, people below 35.
With this commitment, the federal government is hoping that some new unicorns are going to emerge from the program. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Now, the Nigerian Armed Forces operations had in the last 1 week recorded various breakthroughs, which include rescue of 10 kidnapped victims, arrest of 81 terrorists, and elimination of 31 in different combats. In a statement, the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, says a total of 63 Boko Haram ISWAP terrorists and their families surrendered to troops across theaters of operation. Similarly, oil smugglers were denied an estimated sum of 201,402,000 naira. In the Niger Delta, troops destroyed 7 dock outfits, 9 boats, 25 storage tanks, 39 cooking ovens, 3 pumping machines, and 14 illegal refining sites, while 367,300 liters of crude oil recovered. During the period under review, troops recovered 65 assorted weapons and 391 ammunition. And still talking security, the Nigerian Army will be exposing its personnel to a more professional skills of handling security infractions, especially with the ember moons inside. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, announced this at a news conference in Abuja.
November and December are the 3 last months of the year. Security reports show that the period is usually associated with increase in crime rate across the country. As a proactive means to combat these threats, the Nigerian Army is gearing up for new training exercises to upscale troops' capacity to effectively tackle emerging security challenges.
The exercises are codenamed Golden Dawn 3 in the southeast Nigeria, Enduring Peace 3 in the north-central Nigeria, and Stillwater 3 in the south-south and southwest Nigeria.
The training will transform to full-fledged operations targeting specific threats.
With the exercise, we aim to improve the security in the southeast and ensure safety of the populace during the period that will culminate in the Unitide. Exercise Enduring Peace 3, taking place in the north central, is primarily to address banditry, kidnapping, and terrorism amongst others.
As the security challenges continue to evolve, there is mounting pressure on the government to devise new method of tackling them. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The Federal Road Safety Corps has recorded tremendous achievements in the areas of public education, sensitization and awareness creation, crash reduction, prompt rescue services, and timely removal of obstructions on the nation's highways. Governor of Plateau State, Governor Caleb Mutfwang, reiterated this at the passing out parade of newly recruited cadets and trainees of the Corps at the Road Marshal Assistant Training School, Shandam, Plateau State. The governor, who was represented by the Commissioner for Transport, Jato Dabo Gyang, said the achievements of the Corps was recorded due to continuous personnel development, which has instilled dexterity, perseverance, and tenacity in the entire workforce. The passing out parade of 1,070 FRSC cadets and trainees of the Corps was conducted in 4 different centers at Enugu, Delta, Niger, and Plateau states. Away from that now, the imperative of partnership between state authorities and federal government came to the fore as the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pati, visited Governor Babagana Umar Zulum in Maiduguri as part of his engagements in Borno State. Mohammed Goni will now tell us more.
The visit to Borno by the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, is to, among other things, condole with the family of late Professor Emeritus Umaru Shehu, who died last Monday in Maiduguri, and to appreciate the Borno State government for its continued support to the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital.
He's made tremendous contributions to eradication of smallpox, to polio, training of many of us. There are many people here who really children and grandchildren professionally of Professor Morishego. So this loss is a great one, and we condole you and we condole the entire people of Borno State.
The minister also alerted the state on the outbreak of diphtheria in the country, which has killed many children, describing it as preventable disease through administration of vaccine and the need for advocacy on prevention to curtail further spread of the disease. Professor Ali Pate also applauded the progress recorded by Borno State government in the primary healthcare system, which needed to be emulated by other states. Governor Bagana Umar Zulum, who highlighted that the 13 years of insurgency has destroyed about 40% of primary healthcare centers across the state, which informed the decision to make healthcare service one of the topmost priorities of his administration.
Majority of those that are receiving attention from the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital are indigenous of Borno State. So there is no distinction between federal and state institutions in terms of providing affordable and quality healthcare delivery to our people.
Governor Bagana Umar Zulum assured commitment to drive the advocacy to prevent spread of diphtheria and stressed need for synergy among all the component units that made up the health sector. He thanked the high-powered delegation for the condolence visit and assured commitment to partner with the federal government to strengthen the health sector. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
If you're just joining us, you're on to Panorama on the Nigerian Television Authority. Let's take a break now. More reports for you shortly.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
We earlier told you that the Federal Road Safety Corps has recorded tremendous achievements in the areas of public education, sensitization and awareness creation, crash reduction, prompt rescue services, and timely removal of obstructions on the nation's highways. Here are more details of the story.
Road Marshal Assistant Training School, Shandam, Plateau State, is one of the training centers where 1,070 cadets and trainees of Federal Road Safety Corps were rigorously drilled for the task of maintaining sanity and safety on Nigerian roads. The graduation of these officers now increases the workforce of the Corps with assurance of better output. Governor of Plateau State, represented by the Commissioner for Transportation, Jatau Giang, on his part, charged the officers not to relax as the task of meeting and sustaining the expectations of the people for road safety must be met.
You must therefore brace up for the task ahead. Do not be found wanting. You must always remember yourselves that the responsibility of bringing an end to road traffic crashes in our country now lay particularly on your shoulders.
Talking about expectations from the new recruits, Corps Marshal Dauda Bio highlighted dexterity, perseverance, tenacity, and discipline in the course of their duties.
I want to advise them they should be dedicated and focused, and they should maintain the level of integrity that the FRC is on. So that's very critical.
Other centers where the training were as well conducted include FRC Academy, Udi, Enugu State, Marshals Inspectorate Training School, Owalero, Delta State, and Nigeria Army Training Center, Kotagora, Niger State. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
That now, the annual commemoration of the World Mental Health Day seeks to draw global attention to the promotion of both preventive and curative efforts that promote good mental health among global communities. In Borno State, the International Committee of the Red Cross has been in the forefront of supporting people living with trauma arising from armed conflicts to help them live normal life following the return of peace. Correspondent reports that 260 persons are the latest beneficiaries of the ICRC support initiative as the world prepares to mark the World Mental Health Day.
Nadiyan wannan shawarwarin da suke bani gaskiya ina amfani da shi kuma na ga amfanin sa.
Mutum ko yayi min sallama in bai shiga ya saya gaba na babba na gani dadin. Yanzu kam sun waye mana kai alhamdulillah.
Modu Muhammad and Batul Bulama, beneficiaries of the psychosocial support program of the International Committee of the Red Cross, describing how the intervention has assisted them in regaining their consciousness. The outreach, comprising counseling and livelihood support to the victims, is set aside ahead of this year's World Mental Health Day, which is being celebrated on the 10th of October every year. Though a continuous psychosocial support, which started in 2016, so far 120 victims of armed conflict have benefited from this particular intervention at Goranem community, 80 in Bayan quarters and 60 in Libya Bayan Texaco, all in Maiduguri metropolis.
We are in collaboration with the state psychiatry, where we have trained some social workers and nurses to support people affected by violence.
The ICRC had from 2016 to date offered free counseling services to 10,000 persons across all the health centers in Borno.
We are engaging the community members and the other interlocutors in the community for them to take the ownership and the awareness for the community and they engage for the psychosocial services.
The theme of this year's World Mental Health Day is Mental Health is a Universal Human Right, while the theme of ICRC is Strengthening Mental Health in Armed Conflict.
And joining us in the studio now to speak to us further on that is the Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Field Officer of the International Committee of the Red Cross, Ahmed Kari. We're glad to have you join us on Panorama today.
Thank you, Abubakar.
All right. To start with, sir, who is a mentally challenged person?
Okay, thank you. A mentally challenged person is a person whose functionality, daily life and productivity is affected as a result of some factors which can either be genetic or environmental. Focusing on this, our mandate, ICRC, supporting people affected by violence and the theme for this year's World Mental Health Day, support is strengthening mental health in a humanitarian setting. So people affected by violence after undergoing a serious traumatic experiences, the situations they found themselves provided some psychological distress reactions like sleeping problems, lack of socialization well with people, lack of interacting, lack of poor coping and other things. So all these things affect people, and then it causes mental challenges to many people. And when we think of mental challenge, we don't go high to psychiatric conditions. We sometimes pay less attention to mild to moderate symptoms, of which mild to moderate symptoms, if left unattended, it will generate to chronic and severe mental illness. So that's why we focus on psychosocial support, which serves as both curative and preventive measures, as you said earlier. So these PSS we provide to people helps in curative as well as preventive measures.
So great to hear that.
Thank
Okay,
you.
now what is the importance of mental health support in crisis response and the role it plays in rebuilding the lives of affected persons or communities?
Yeah, thank you so much for this question. Research shows that conducted by WHO in 2019 in about prevalence of mental disorders in humanitarian settings. So it shows that more than 22.1% of people in armed conflict suffers from one form of mental disorder. So that's why you see in Borno State now the population is above 6 million. So roughly in 22.1% of 6 million is more than 1 million. So it means mental health and psychosocial support is highly needed in such a situation. A state like Borno State, we're ravaged by insurgency for more than a decade now. So this shows the importance of having mental health and psychosocial support to people affected by violence.
All right. Now, what are the possible challenges or mental health issues bedeviling communities affected by armed conflict from findings?
Yeah, thank you. We started the activities in 2015, 2016 in Borno State when the IDPs trooped to Borno Maiduguri metropolis displaced from their various communities. So findings shows that when we assess the communities when they are resettling in the IDP camps, mostly they are affected by depression, anxiety and stress, and then poor functionality and lack of poor good coping mechanisms. So findings shows that we supposed to provide this mental health and psychosocial support to them in order to help them cope, in order to help them cope with these painful experiences they had. So that's why we provide MHPSS to people affected by violence.
All right, so great to hear that, Ahmed. Now, what situations or conditions will tell a person that he or she needs mental care?
Thank you. Sometimes there are some mild to moderate symptoms that we less pay attention to them, and then they later become complicated and then worsen. So there are some symptoms that will show to an individual that he or she is undergoing stress. For example, sleeping problems. An individual cannot be able to sleep for at least 6 to 8 hours in 24 hours, and also lack of appetite. The individual cannot eat well, cannot socialize well with people, dissociating or isolating him or herself from people, cannot be able to carry out activities of daily living as usual as before, and then cannot be able to enjoy life pleasurable activities, things that he does before to enjoy and then to derive pleasure in them. He is no longer performing all this. So all these things are signaling, are showing that an individual is having some form of some psychological distress reaction that he or she may require an expertise to at least intervene, to address counseling or to provide psychosocial support to him or her.
Okay, away from that now, sir, where can one access psychosocial support and care?
Thank you. In ICRC, we work in various communities to provide MHPSS, mental health and psychosocial support to people. We're working in the various LGS, now expanding to LGS. As you know, people are now reintegrating and then rehabilitating back to their various communities. So we are now working in Bama, Monguno, Dikwa, and Damboa in the primary healthcare centers. We build the capacity of the health staffs working in the primary healthcare centers. You know, we lack psychologists, we lack psychiatrists, and then number of psychiatric nurses is very minimal compared to the population. So in ICRC, focusing on this problem, so we try to build the capacity of the locals for sustainability and continuity. So in these primary healthcare centers, mental health and psychosocial support is provided. Also in Maiduguri, Borno State, we also build the capacity of nurses, social workers, as well as psychologists in various hospitals like Mental Health Department, UMTH, Trauma Center, State Specialist Hospital, as well as other facilities like Nilewa SAC Center, Umorushe Ultra Modern Hospital. We also provide services in the community as you just presented previously.
All right, at this point, we would like to say a very big thank you to you for being part of Panorama today.
Thank you so much, Abakar. It's my pleasure.
All right, we've been with Ahmed Kiari, Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Field Officer of the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC. Let's move on now. Following a reported environmental case of polio in Budum community of Maiduguri Metropolitan Council, Borno State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, in collaboration with health partners, have flagged off mass vaccination campaign for children below the ages of 5 across the 27 local government areas of the state towards curbing the spread of the disease. Ijapari Joseph has more on the story.
The mass polio vaccination campaign was to further protect children from the killer disease and to strengthen routine immunization campaign, as over 5 years, the state was free from polio disease. Commissioner, Ministry of Health and Human Services, Baba Malangana, represented by Director Disease Control, Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Aliu Shetima Mailafia, employed parents and caregivers to ensure they vaccinate their wards in order to prevent them from being infected by the disease, as government, through the agency, has strategized towards curbing spread of the disease.
We went to the community to search for cases and also the facilities, and also we have engaged the community to inform them and also to sensitize them that we have this virus in the environment and they need to take this vaccination for all children under the age of 5.
From 2016 to date, no case was found until now. So we are doing everything possible to make sure we contain this virus.
Traditional and religious leaders as well as private sector actors also key into the advocacy in ensuring that children are immunized. In Maiduguri, Japari Joseph, NTA News.
Up next is Sports Update with Omoyemwen Onubun.
The Edo State Weightlifting Association has commenced preparations for participating in the weightlifting event at the Paris 2024, the 22nd National Sports Festival in Ogun State, and All Africa Games in Ghana.
We're trying to train so that one day I'll represent my country.
You work hard, you achieve your goal, you don't train, nothing.
With my experience, I'm imparting the athletes the good techniques, because if you have the strength and you do not have the techniques, you cannot go far.
Match day 2 of the Nigeria Premier Football League is said to be another exciting weekend of action, with Bende Insurance entertaining Shooting Stars of Ibadan at the Samuel Ogbemude Stadium in Benin City on Saturday.
Our boys know exactly what is required of them to really get to that level, and they have had a taste of continental competition.
Doma United will play host to Bayelsa United. Katsina United travel to Kano seeking for a second win of the season at the Sani Abacha Stadium. Niger Tornadoes will battle Rivers United. In other matches, Akwa United are hoping to put their opening day defeat behind them when they host newly promoted Sporting Lagos, while Gobe United will face an uphill task of defeating the defending champions Enyimba International. Plateau United clash with Heartland, and Remo Stars go head-to-head with Rangers International. Meanwhile, Rivers United have been drawn in Group C of the CAF Confederations Cup. Rivers will face Club of African of Tunisia, Dreams FC of Ghana, and Academica do Lobito of Angola in the group. It will be the second time Rivers United will be meeting Club African in the competition. The top two teams in the group will earn a berth in the quarterfinals. And finally, second-seeded Iga Swiatek has advanced by defeating Caroline Garcia 6-7, 7-6, 6-1 at the China Open, while third-seeded Coco Gauff extended her winning streak to 16 matches, beating Maria Sakkari 6-2, 6-4 and setting up a semi-final match against Swiatek. With sports updates, Omoyeme Unobo, NTA News.
It has been on Panorama for today from NTA Maiduguri Zonal Network Center. We thank you so much for being part of it. Do enjoy the rest of the weekend.